Hey, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and today I'm joined by Jonathan. How you doing, John?
Good. How you doing?
I kind of messed up our intro, didn't I? Today, we're going to keep it short because we have an interview this week, but we're going to be talking about the 3 new trailers that just came out and doing a very big review for A Night at Seven Kingdoms Season 1. Jonathan, the 3 trailers that came out, one of them is Toy Story 5, the other one's House of the Dragon Season 3, and then we have Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, which is the movie. I'm kind of thinking I'll take the lead on House of the Dragons, you take the lead on Toy Story, and then we'll break down Peaky Blinders after that. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
You want to go? Okay. Why don't you kick us off with Toy Story then?
All right. So we're seeing the Toy Story 5 trailer. It sets up the big plot, which is the classic toys that we know and love against new tech, which is so relatable because every kid, including my son, has a tablet in their face all the time now. And
Yeah.
I mean, we were the generation that kind of grew into that and saw the first technology come into play and everything. But so we see Woody's out in the world trying to rescue lost toys. And then Jessie is there with Bonnie and all her toys are pretty much getting forgotten and everything. So I am excited to see kind of how this rolls out. I think this is going to be a lot more relatable than Toy Story 4 was with the whole Forky situation.
Yeah. How did Toy Story 4 play with Marco?
I don't remember. I don't know if he's really sat through it. He doesn't have a great attention span for watching a movie, but he tends to have a tablet in his face a lot of times. When we go to the theaters,
which makes this one even more relatable.
Yeah. When we go to the theaters, he seems to really engage. He even really liked Snow White, which was live action, but being in the theater and the whole vibe, I think, helps a lot. So I'm sure he'll like this if we go see it in theaters for sure.
Because Toy Story 3 was like perfect, man. So
Yeah.
Toy Story 4, I don't think was that bad, but boy, people didn't care for it. I think mostly because 3 was so good. I'm hoping that this one brings back the old school Toy Story vibes, which I think it does because I think Toy Story 4 wasn't really trying to tell you anything. It was about nostalgia toys maybe, or like collector's toys, I guess. That's what Toy Story 2 was about. So yeah, there wasn't like a point, right? This one clearly is about technology.
I think it was about where the value comes in to the toy. What makes a toy valuable? Because it's all about this collector who's trying to sell an old toy because it's rare and in mint condition, it's worth millions of dollars or something like that. And then they realize like, well, yeah, but even a spork can be super valuable. It just depends on who values it. So I like that story, but I don't know. Forky was just kind of a silly character, and the whole movie wasn't as good as 3. So like, okay, let's see how they do in 5. But I like the premise. It's definitely a lot more relatable.
And it looks like Jessie's taking the lead on this one, which is a good change up. It's a nice little mix up because we've seen that Buzz and Woody have been separated for a while now. Buzz is basically married to Jessie, if that's the term we want to use. And Woody, after the events of 4, is out with Bo Peep saving toys. To kind of go back to those two together as the main focus of the story doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they've been separated. So Jessie, I think, works great for this.
And I think this kind of plays on the challenges of life, or how life is like ever changing. As you grow older, you go through different seasons, because now showing the dynamic has completely shifted. They're no longer this cohesive structure within one kid's collection of toys, but they're all broken up in different places doing totally different things now. But it's just like, this is the next chapter, next season of their lives.
Yeah, maybe we'll see a little bit more of that. It reminds me, just this week, I messaged my old friend Jeremy, which we used to be thick as thieves, but man, I haven't seen him in so long. And that's because I was cleaning my house and I found the announcement of his daughter Kyrie's birth. She just turned, I think, 18 or 19.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Does that make you feel
old?
old?
Like, hey, man, we're old as hell.
Our friends have adult children.
Yeah. Oh man, so it was just kind of like, yeah, we're definitely in a different part of our lives, you know. But I got his updated Xbox and PlayStation gamer tag, so we're good. We're gonna play some games together. Yeah, just whatever, totally grown up. You know?
Yeah,
but that's how we communicate nowadays.
Putting the kids down to bed or something like that. He can stay up as late as he wants now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, now that we're actually beyond that, we can actually have some fun again.
Yeah,
that's what your single guy's always thinking. Yeah, this looks good. Woody's got a bald spot on the back of his head.
Right.
It's like,
more relatable
yeah,
than
bro.
ever.
Yeah, you're definitely aging, bro. I feel you. Oh man, but that looks good, and I'm pretty happy to see that Pixar is kind of doing something right here. This looks good. So does Hoppers. I'm starting to see things out of them, and I'm like, shit. All right, this is go to see it in theaters, guys. Because if you guys want movies from Pixar, you've got to see them in theaters.
If you like these kind of original stories, or if you like what they're doing, you got to support it, or else it's not going to happen anymore.
All right, my turn. We're going to House of the Dragon season 3. This is the first big trailer for that, and we're seeing it's a season of all war, which I think is a full response to season 2, a lackluster of fights. We're going to be starting with the Battle of Gullet, which is a big ship battle. We should have 3 battles this season, and we're seeing that Rhaenyra is the war queen again. Every so often she has these little spurts of it. I promise you, this season is all about her taking charge. And one of the things we're starting to see is that Alicent, who promised to open the gates, their side, the Greens, are not as decisive as beforehand. And I think that made them easy. It made it easy to just assume that the Greens are the bad guys. I think this season, and we're starting to see it with this trailer, that maybe they're not. Maybe not necessarily anybody's a bad guy or good guy. The fact that they're fighting is the problem. And we see Kristen Cole standing in the footprint of one of Vhagar's footprints. It was a really good shot that reminded me of how like everybody who's not a dragon owner gets smashed in these wars. And why the Targaryens eventually lose power is because their infighting just kill all the small folk. And I thought that was a really good example of that. So I think the big takeaway from this trailer is it's going to be all out war on House of the Dragon season 3.
I'm excited. It looks so good. I was so upset with the end of season 2 because it was all that build up the whole last episode, which they could have had a little bit more development or story or something like that in it, and not just banging the drums and getting you ramped up for sitting on those emotions for a year or 2 years or whatever it is. But anyways, the only thing that could justify that is this whole season is the battle. And I love seeing that there's going to be a ship battle amongst the dragons. Like the ship battles already are awesome and dragon fight battles are great, but then having the two merge together, like that's going to be really good to see.
That should be episode 1.
Really?
Because that's how season 2 is supposed to end, was the Battle of the Gullet, which is that. And the Valeron fleet is in there. So the Sea Snake, which is such a badass character, he's in that fight. His daughter on Dragonback is in that fight, and Jace in that fight. So it's like the younger Targaryens are out there fighting, the Sea Snake's out there fighting. Surprisingly, the Greens have a pretty good fleet as well. It'll have some ramifications. It's going to be a really cool fight. There are some shifting things in this season, because we have this season and then season 4, and that's it. There's no more House of the Dragon. And with all the death and destruction that comes with the Dance of the Dragons, this fight, shifting alliances are bound to happen. So some people who are allied with the Greens or allied with the Blacks might be switching sides, depending on some people that you stepped on the toes. I'm trying not to spoil anything, guys. That's what I'm really trying to do right now. And so keep that in mind, that there's going to be some betrayals and stuff. So it's going to be fun to see all those things going on. Visually, is there anything that stood out to you when you're looking at the trailer?
It's going to be CGI heavy, seeing the ship battles, and the dragons is already so much, and ship battles alone. So it's definitely going to be heavy CGI, but that's what the show is known for. It's known for, it's got to be expensive with all the CGI. So I'm glad they're not trying to hold back, and they're investing in it. I'm sure they're doing good work with the CGI. It's
nice to have kind of that and A Knight of the Seven Kingdom in the same year, because you can have the two juxtaposed to each other and really see kind of what you can do with a small budget versus what you can do with a big budget. And both are good. It's just that they're two different ways of telling the same world. That's really cool.
And you don't always need these huge battles when you can just have a deep, intimate story that stays simple and is just fun to be in.
It's going to be a good season for House of the Dragon, guys. It's going to be a blast.
When that's coming out?
It is summer 2026, so we don't know necessarily an exact summer, but we do have an exact date for Peaky Blinders, which is going to be coming out March 20th. Pretty soon, actually, just about a month away. Yes. So this is the final movie for the Tommy Shelby franchise. Jonathan, did you have a chance to watch Peaky Blinders? I know that's one of the things I watched a lot when it first came out, but did you watch it?
I think I saw the first 2 seasons. I'm sure there's more. There was like 7 seasons, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's quite a bit of them.
I'm far behind.
And
what I saw was good. It's just hard to get back into it after being away from for so long.
I know. I'm not even trying to push you on it anymore, because I know that sure you try your best. But one thing that's nice is, like, the first season they hinted at the fact that Tommy Shelby, he's a communist sympathizer. I'll say he's not a communist himself, but he's not against them either. And they were kind of targeted by a lot of people. Well, when time goes along, and eventually we're running into fascism coming into place with World War II, Tommy then has to take a hard stance. And he sides with the fascists on the surface to get close enough to try to assassinate them. And that kind of backfires, but then Tommy kind of has this kind of sure-footed thing. Well, this movie's taking place during World War II. So you're in the thick of it. His son is now in charge of the area of Birmingham, and Tommy kind of has retired. But this is a really good comic called, it's DC Comic Justice League Kingdom Come. And it's all about, like, the young superheroes are destroying the world because they're reckless and they don't understand what it was like to be a superhero, what it meant to have people looking at you. Superman has to return with old school Wonder Woman, who's a little bit more of a war hungry person, and Batman, who's now like using technology to kind of control corporations and stuff like that. It's a whole thing. But they kind of have to return to remind the young superheroes what it is to be a superhero. And this kind of reminds me of what's going on here. Tommy Shelby has to return and be like, hey, you're not taking advantage of Birmingham. You're protecting Birmingham. Yeah. And they will protect you. And so I'm looking forward to kind of seeing some old school Tommy Shelby, Cillian Murphy coming in and knocking some heads together. What do you think about the trailer?
Yeah, it looks really good. Something about the music, the way they made the trailer was just beautifully done. But yeah, putting it in World War II, and there's always like shifting of power in war. Mm-hmm. So it just leaves room for crooked people to come in and take control of certain neighborhoods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
really supplies will be tight, so it's very easy for somebody like these guys to kind of shift things around and they're like tight supplies. Yeah.
And I like how you're saying like he's not quite communist, but I think he primarily focuses on the business, right? The family business, making money, keeping control. But he likes to play Robin Hood a little bit. Like, not that it's his focus. He's not going to feed the poor and then his family isn't rich. He wants to stay rich and in power. But it's a fun little hobby of his on the side, I think. So it's cool to see that versus, like you're saying, his son who doesn't care about the poor. In fact, he's going to take from the poor and become the rich and doesn't care who he steps on in the process. And that generational difference between them would be cool.
I do love that about the character. In the early seasons, it's more prominent where you could see, like, there's this guy who's clearly not, I don't want to say he's simple, but he's kind of simple. And, but he's good with horses. And like, Tommy's like, you're going to take care of my horses. And like this other guy who's just, I think he's a great uncle, whatever, but he's in charge of managing all the boats because it's just kind of, so he finds the niche where you can be comfortable and find a steady job. It's not like he's going to give you money, but he finds a steady job. You're good. One guy who has, I believe at that time they called it shell shock, but it is what we now call PTSD. And he used to call it having fireworks in your head or something like that. It was a really interesting way of saying it. But Tommy would just kind of like give him a part of the bar to kind of like freak out in sometimes, and it would personally take him home. And it's like, you're Tommy Shelby, man. You got shit to do, but yet you're taking home a friend that was in the trenches with you back in World War I, back home. And it's just the Robin Hood. I really like that call out, Jonathan. That was quite good. That's exactly what he is. Yeah. But he's scheming a little off the top too. They're scheming a little off the top.
Yeah. We'll go rob the rich, but he's just not too far behind them always.
Yeah. This is going to be a good year for movies. We keep talking about that. We have so many good movies coming up, and so we're going to keep talking about these trailers as they release. We got 3 in one day, so I was quite busy reviewing and editing and all that. So it was been a pretty good year. All right, let's go ahead and get into A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. We're going to review the season as a whole and that finale. Jonathan, as someone who is new to the story, where did you see this thing going from start to finish, and were you happy with how it ended up?
Yeah, so I liked the whole show. There was, like we talked about a few times, a couple scenes that were just kind of ridiculous and didn't need to be there. It didn't really fit the vibe of the rest of the show. But it sounds like the development team, the producers, and everybody understands that's just not the way to go anymore. But aside from that, it was like good pacing in the story. I like how it's super grounded. It's not about kings, and it's not even about knights. It's about a hedge knight. Like it's a entry level kind of rookie and trying to prove himself and his value and what it means to be a knight and the valor that's supposed to go along with that and the standard you're supposed to hold yourself to and everything. I think they did a great job with the casting, the actual actors that are playing Duncan Egg, especially.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And I can't remember the...
Lionel Baratheon is the one that's kind of crazy, outlandish knight.
That's it. Yeah. And he's a Baratheon. That makes sense, I guess.
Yes, it does. 100%. Yeah.
But I think he was one of my favorite non-lead characters for sure.
So charismatic. He was fun to watch, right? And just him dancing around and like one of the things so we're going to do spoilers, by the way, guys. Let me just throw that out there before we go too far. But in that final episode, this entire season, we've been watching him kind of come and party. We got Dunk, who's leaning up against a tree and he's in pain and he's thinking, like, what have I done to this realm, really? And here comes Lionel Baratheon to sit next to him and be like, that's a hell of a tournament, man. It's a shame that it's over. Dunk is sitting there like, I just got a prince killed. Oh, why am I even alive? Yeah. And then Lionel reminds him very aptly, I think, like, hey, he risked nothing, but I risked everything. So did Raymond Fossaway. So did Humphreys, both Beesbury and Harding. They both risked everything for you. Those are the ones who should be mourning, not the prince who was going up against 3 Kingsguard, 3 relatives, and a shit knight. So I liked that idea of like Lionel, and he says that there's a war coming. I could use you on my side. There's a war coming. That's of course some foreshadowing for like Robert's rebellion, and later on, and even Lionel's future, he has tiffs with the Targaryens and has little mini rebellions with them. When you think of where the Baratheons started in like Aegon's conquest, Aegon's best friend is a Baratheon, and he actually gives them their house and storms in. And it's arguably that they're brothers, like half brothers. But to be at this point, and then where they're going with Robert's rebellion, I like how Lionel kind of gives you that idea, like, hey, we're getting ready to take out the Targaryens, kind of thing, like in a distant future. I thought that was cool.
We need to make friends where we can, because there's a lot coming up that we're gonna need to be prepared for.
Yeah, it shows that the dancing fool was not just dancing fool, but he's also a wise guy who understands the stakes of the world. And I think that's kind of how Robert was too in his early days. We see Robert Baratheon after the wars, after the Valor, when he's just a drunk and fat, and he's a conqueror. He's not meant to be a ruler, and he's stuck being a ruler now. And the worst thing for him is that he became king, for his health anyways. I think before then he was kind of smart like this Lionel was. Yeah.
In this season, we saw Dunk learn what the world is like, because he was just a kid who was following a mentor, and he wasn't prepared for the world that he was thrown into. But once his knight dies and he's kind of on his own, has to figure out what to do. Yeah, he goes to these I don't know, this match, this jousting and everything, the tournament, that's what it's called. So he goes to this tournament so naive, no understanding of what this is like. He thinks a knight is high integrity, high honor, prestigious, all the fairy tale stories that he's been told how a knight should be. And they're all sailors. They're swindling and whoring around and spitting on each other. Like, just terrible people, right? As far as you can see. Him learning that not only is that the world that's around me, but that doesn't have to change me. That doesn't mean I have to be like them. I can still stand up for what a knight should be, even if it's not what a knight is right now.
Maekar offers him a position at Summerhall. So when Dunk joins the tournament, his goal is to, if he's lucky, a lord will like what he does and says, why don't you come work for me? That's his goal. The idea that the royal family might say it, and not just the royal family, Maekar saying, come to Summerhall, basically our vacation home, the best of the best. It's just north of Dorne. It's literally the best case scenario. He won the lottery there. And after the events of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, he's sitting there thinking, no, I've had enough with princes. And a hedge knight should be on the road, like Arlen had taught me time and time again. And I love how much, and we got it with that final shot when Arlen's walking behind him, and I put it out there like, this is the most Lord of the Rings shot ever. It's so beautiful with the field and everything. Then Arlen peels away, being like, hey, I've given you everything I got. It's time for you to lead the way. And it was just a really beautiful moment of Dunk realizing who he is and who he needs to be going forward. And hopefully, of course, that rubs off on Egg, who will eventually be a very important Targaryen.
Yeah. And the way I see that offer, it's like a hedge knight is a beat cop who's out there patrolling the streets, trying to keep people safe and stuff like that. And then they were offering him like a real cush desk job that pays double. And he's like, yeah, that's cool, but I need to be out there protecting the people. There's innocent people out there that are getting taken advantage of. And that's my job, is to roam the villages and keep people safe to whatever degree he can.
He tells Maekar, like, when he says at some point, Egg can come with me and be my squire, because the whole thing is like, Egg wants to be a squire. And Maekar says, no, he'll never eat salt beef, yada, yada. And he's like, what? Darian, Arryn, they didn't eat salt beef. You got one drunk and one asshole. How did that work out for you? Yeah. And I think that really hit home, because right before that scene, we saw, and this isn't in the book, but we saw Egg go in with a knife. And if Maekar wasn't there, would he have killed Arryn? Or at least cut his junk off, like Arryn keeps threatening to do to him. I think Maekar kind of saw, like, I've got my last son is about to go down this pathway.
Yeah. This is his
and
last
the one
chance
good son he has, which even Maekar doesn't consider him a good son, is Aemon. And he's only good because he left the family. He is becoming a maester and eventually will join the Night's Watch and eventually teaches Jon Snow and Sam Tarly. But yeah, he has to, the one kid that's a good person isn't around the family. So he's got to be seeing that Egg's going to have the same problem if he doesn't leave too.
Yeah. And in the end, he still didn't let him leave, right?
Yeah, that is interesting. That's definitely added from the show. There's a few things that people are kind of conversing about right now, and that's one of them. The show added that in, and then people were like, well, that's not that way in the book. It technically in the book, it doesn't say that Maekar actually gave permission.
Okay.
It's just been
Just left it
assumed,
okay.
right? But also, like, it would be crazy if he didn't.
It's as if we didn't see that scene of him being upset, and it was just like, well, he said no, but then Egg found him on the road, and they took off together. You could either assume he gave him permission or assume that he didn't, and he's mad about it. But if they don't confirm it either way, it's just kind of up to you.
If they cut that last part off, it's exactly like that in the book, where they go off together. Like Egg, Dunk's ready to go, and Egg shows up and is like, "Oh, okay, hey, you see that Egg has new clothes? He shaved his head. Clearly, he got permission to be here because who gave him these clothes and stuff like that." So, which would have been Darian. Like how Darian is this drunk brother who's kind of useless, but still, he's kind of looking out for Egg in the best way. He's like, he knows to get him away from us poisonous Targaryens. There's something about. I'm a big fan of him in a way that like he deserves better than what he actually gets, I think. And then for Egg, what did you think about his character and where do you think he's going?
He seemed well casted for the role. He seems like for being quite young, very good actor. I like that they cast him young and through the season still age. Mm-hmm. But he seems, as the way it's written, he's already so intelligent, and he's a young man in a house where they're taught from a young age. They're meant to be kings, so they're actually formally educated, where everyone else just has to mend their clothes and take care of the horses and stuff like that, and they learn by doing. Mm-hmm. But I think they did a good job portraying that difference, where he's very proper, even though he wants to learn the ways of the simple folk and what it means to be a knight and have honor and integrity and stuff like that. That's so foreign to him because in his house they obviously treat each other terribly, but he can see the difference. And it's just, even Dunk was completely blind to the fact that there's a difference between a true knight and a common knight, and they treat each other and stuff like that. But Dunk Aegon can see that pretty clearly. But what
I like about Egg,
well portrayed.
Yeah, the way he looks at knights is like something he wants to be because he's a kid, right? It's something you pretend to be. You're pretending to jest. But also, he's like a sports fan because that's the sports of the day. So he knows all the big players. He knows, the Laughing Storm or this one, that one. He knows these guys. You can imagine if they existed, he had all the trading cards for all the knights. Yeah. He knows them well. And he wants to be a squire because he also wants to be a knight someday, which is something that does eventually happen for him. Again, we're going to grand future stuff. He will have 3 sons. The eldest is Prince Duncan, and Dunk will be by his side all the way through, and they'll fight in many wars. Egg will be a knight. He'll be a very, very good fighter, actually. And so, but it's all because of the tutelage from Dunk. That's really cool to see that works. Is there any other character that really stood out to you? I want to throw out a very small side. I mean, Raymond Fossaway was cool, but I want to throw out a little side thing I thought was a very nice touch. Is Red, who we met earlier on, is a sex worker. She was with Dondarrion, Manfred Dondarrion. And then when we see the very last episode, she's on the arms of Raymond Fossaway, who Raymond's like, "Oh, meet my new wife." And Doug's like, she's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm Lady Rowan. I'm already with child," which is like, that's impossible. And what it is obviously Raymond Fossaway is just like this gullible kid who's like, "Oh my God, I saw boobies last night." And I love immediately that like class, what is that called? Oh shoot. That class alliance that the two had when Dunk, who probably isn't a knight, when he knows that Red is pretending to be a lady and says, "I'm Lady Rowan," he's like, "Gotcha. You're also lying to get a promotion." So,
that's true. That's pretty good.
And immediately was clocking. It was like, "Good to meet you, Lady Rowan." Like, not that I just saw you whoring with Dondarrion a couple days ago.
You keep my secrets, I'll keep your secrets. We'll both level up.
Yeah, and how she's already pregnant. It's like, if she's pregnant, it's with Dondarrion's kid. It ain't with yours.
Yeah.
So I mean, all the characters are really good, but let's talk about visuals. This is clearly a smaller budget, and I think we know that HBO went to the team and said, "Hey, we want a more affordable version of Game of Thrones, so we could do them more often." And they're like, "Oh, we have literally George R. R. Martin's favorite version of the story of Westeros, and it's Dunk and Egg." Do you think that they proved? I mean, I think that's obvious. How did they prove that you could do a smaller budget in the Westeros world?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was perfectly done because there was no need for some big extravagant scenes. You don't have to bring in the dragons. This is all much lower scale. This is with the common folk. And they did some, at least at the end, a big panoramic scene and stuff like that.
The joust itself was very cool. But even that was a lot of like the fog to help them out and stuff like that. Yeah. There's some smart moves.
Yeah. But I think the way the story was written, and it's very kind of humble. It just doesn't call for major. I mean, like the fights, yeah, you're going to see armor clashing and stuff like that, but it just doesn't need to be grand scales and big ship battles and stuff like that because it's not an army versus an army. It's just one man who has barely any battle experience trying to prove himself and survive. So I think it's just the story sets the scale and the standard.
And I think it does something that Game of Thrones does better than House of the Dragons, where it makes you fall in love with the characters for who they are. So in Game of Thrones, like Tyrion Lannister, just hearing him talk, I was there. Or Jon Snow, like, you want to be Jon Snow. And I think the same thing happened with this, where it was like, man, Egg seems like he's having so much fun, and I'm just rooting for this little kid. Or Dunk, like, I want to have a cool party with Dunk. I want to go drinking with Lionel Baratheon. And I think House of the Dragon forgets to do that. I think that's one big weakness in that show. It's like, who do you want to hang out with? Daemon Targaryen, the asshole?
Because they all have very not a lot of fun complex characteristics. Like, you don't relate with any of them very well. You don't really like anyone too much because they're all in a gray area, it seems like.
Yeah.
In the House of the
and
Dragon.
This one, they're simplified, but they're very relatable and they're very fun. And some of my when I was looking back when I was writing the review for this, I was looking back at my favorite scene. Was it the big joust? Was it? Oh, it was when the two of them were doing the tug of war, and they're just having fun and joking around, and that fun little bit where Dunk's like, "Hey, did I mess up talking to the girl?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're dumb," stuff like that. It's those moments, and that just is something that you don't expect out of House of the Dragons, and why I think this show worked really well. And even the music too, like the music had a little bit more whimsy in it. And one of the things, again, when I was writing the review, one thing I like about when I write these reviews is I could really take time to analyze it. And I came to the conclusion that a Game of Thrones and a House of the Dragon are like English history, and this is closer to like King Arthur's court, where it's more myth and legend, and these characters can be a little bit bigger than normal life because it's almost like they're legendary in themselves. Yeah, it's a little bit more fairy tale. It's a little more fun than a history story book.
Retold. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Another scene in particular I really liked. We've seen a few different times, at least a handful of times, with him sitting against a tree and like an old elm tree and talking. And Sir Arlen taught him to do that, I guess. But it's like their church. That's their prayer, is to sit under the tree, and they're connected with nature, and that's kind of a peaceful place for them to reflect on the day and stuff like that. And I like how it's like certain times in the show when something big happens, you find him back sitting at a tree and kind of going over it or trying to make peace with himself or something like that. It's like, yeah, it's really cool. It's like a spiritual connection. He believes in the 7 gods like everyone else, but this is kind of something special that he's learned to do different than everyone else.
Yeah, it's kind of like spirituality versus religion in a way, where sometimes it's more about being with nature. And that takes us to that story that Arlen told. This, I believe the Penny Tree, the first time the Penny Tree was mentioned was Jaime Lannister goes to Penny Tree, the town, and sees the tree full of pennies and is like, I wonder what that's all about, but he doesn't want to look into it. We got the story of the Penny Tree. What did you think about that little tale and how they honor their dead?
I don't, is that what it is? I don't remember how the story went. I know you nail a penny to the tree, and then if you ever come back, you can remove it or something like that.
So the way Arlen says it's quite beautiful. He says that all the boys in the town, when they go off to go fight some war, they nail a penny in the tree, and then when you come back, you pull your penny out. And he says it's a very big oak, but it's hard to find a spot on that tree that's empty. So many boys don't come back.
Yeah, okay.
So I just thought like that, first off, what a visual to see that, to imagine that tree. But also like it really shows like the cost of war. And it's just a small little bit, but all of a sudden it's so much world building. And again, that's something that Night of the Seven Kingdoms does better than both the other 2 series. Yeah. And then when we see Dunk, who puts that penny in the tree, it kind of reflects like, this is a better memorial than when he talked about how like, oh, Arlen, I dug a hole for him, buried him. He didn't have the grand funeral of Baelor Targaryen like we just got done seeing. But instead, that penny in a tree is almost like a better funeral than any knight has had or any of these grand lords will have around him. It's a little more personal. It's more about him.
And that idea of the penny tree reminds me, I don't know what country it's in. I think it's somewhere in Europe, but where they have like a bridge where people new love or whatever, they'll go put a lock on the fence and they become a tradition. And the whole fence, the whole side of the bridge is just padlocks of new couples or whatever. People fall in love or get married or whatever. But hopefully at some point they'll do a flashback or something like that and we can actually see. I know it wouldn't be very expensive prop to build. It might be kind of hard to do, but actually see the penny tree depicted would be kind of cool.
If everything goes well, that's supposed to be in the 5th book. Because right now there's only 3 books out, but we kind of have ideas of what's coming up, like by titles. And so the 4th book that's not written yet is called the working title is The She-Wolves of Winterfell. So it's going to be a North one. And then the next one is the The Village Hero, I think it is, and that's supposed to be all about Penny Tree. So
Okay.
that would be when we'd see that one again, which would be cool. Like, can bring back Arlen. And apparently George R. R. Martin's working on those books, but it's like, bro, just get some work, get some helpers, please. We want you to get this done.
You will have plenty of volunteers, I'm sure.
I think Ira Parker, the showrunner for this, I think he did a pretty solid job of keeping things as close as you can. This is definitely like the best adaptation for Game of Thrones ever, but also one of the better adaptations I've ever seen. Did some of the jokes not land well? Yes. But I think that's just not understanding, or I think that was just a trial and error. And I don't think that's something that's going to be a problem in the future. I think as a whole, though, this is one of the most faithful adaptations, and I have like no complaints of that. So I personally gave this a 9 out of 10, just because, like, yeah, I think some of those jokes were a little bit forced, but pacing wise, the 30-minute episodes, when you finish an episode and you're like, God, I just can't wait a week for another episode. That's a really good sign.
Yeah.
I'm having that with a Pit right now too. So,
and that's the biggest challenge with this is short episodes and such a short season. Like, can't we get, what happened to like a 13 or 18 episode season, or 22 back in the day or something like that? Like, 6 or 7 episodes? It's not
6
enough.
episodes. Yeah, well, that's the thing is, like, I was showing Mom, because she reads a lot of the books that I read, and I was like, you should read this one, but she doesn't like these because it's written kind of that old English. But I was showing her, like, the book that this comes in has actually got the 3 books collected. And I'm like, this group of pages right here, like 100 pages, is season 1. The next 95 pages is season 2. Just read the 95 pages and you'll have season 2. Yeah. And so that's the thing is, like, if we wanted longer episodes, they would add a lot of filler, and that's not very cool. But yeah, I think going forward, the next story is basically the Westeros is in a drought, and it's a fight over a dam that's blocking off some water. And it's like, that simple of a thing is enough for an entire season. And it's a really good story. And the second one too. That'll be good. What's your score out of 10?
I'd definitely give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it being short seasons. I just wish maybe they could do, like some shows do 2 seasons in 1 year. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be a counterbalance with the other shows, House of Dragons and stuff, but if we can turn these out a little faster, it would be really cool.
We are lucky enough they've been filming since December already for this one. They said it's coming out once a year, which is actually somewhat rare nowadays. Like, I think of Stranger Things is like once every 4 years. So this is pretty good. Gosh, we really loved it. We love to hear what you guys thought about it. And yeah, it was a blast. This is a bit of a shorter one because we have a big interview coming up this week. On Friday, we have it coming out with Lenore Zan. She's the voice of Rogue for the animated series X-Men 97 and Marvel Rivals. It was such a great chat with Lenore. I had so much fun with that. The horror sequel audiences and critics are raving about. 28 years later, The Bone Temple comes home. See why it's certified fresh and verified hot via Rotten Tomatoes. Get it now on digital. Before we head out, let's talk about our recommendations for the week. Jonathan, I'll ask you in a second, but I will start off first. My recommendation for the week is you guys subscribe to Russell Crowe's brand new TikTok account. I know. That's the exact reaction I expected, Jonathan. Russell Crowe started a TikTok account because he apparently collects watches. He's a big watch collector. And so he films his TikToks in landscape. He does it all wrong. You can like see him press record on the phone. You can see him press stop record on the phone. He doesn't edit that out at all. And he just talks about his watch collection, and he's so knowledgeable. And they're like not optimized for time. They're like 5 minutes long about him bullshitting about this. Oh, this is made by Veronici Bonici. And this, see how it's got this little thing here. And there's only 17 of these watches, but I really like this one. And Russell Crowe, what I forgot about him is he's got such a good voice. He's got one of those voices that you can fall asleep to. So when he's sitting there really carefully talking about this watch, and he's like, by the way, I'm not going to take any money from sponsors. So if you see me asking for money, that's not me. Now see how the style bounced back? I love it. It's so much fun. He's clearly very passionate. Today's TikTok video that came out today. And again, it's just like a landscape, totally wrong proportions. And he's like, hey guys, so I got a movie I got to film, so I won't be making many of these videos here pretty soon. And then I want to tell you, I've been getting a lot of offers for sponsorships. I never really cared for that. He's explaining this. And then he's like, but I will tell you whenever I'm invested in something. And I did buy a bottling company, a whiskey company. So this is the whiskey. And then he tells the story of like the person who founded this whiskey company. And it's like, that's a neat little story. And then he goes into, now check out this watch. Let me watch this.
It's crazy. It's that like super personal conversation and storytelling.
Crazy personal.
The best kind of advertising this company could ever not pay for. That's crazy.
And it's seriously like if your grandpa started a TikTok channel, but it's Russell freaking Crowe. And he keeps mentioning like, he's like, you won't hear from Maximus on this. It's like he keeps referencing Gladiator. And it's like, yes, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And so
I would love if more actors we knew did that kind of TikTok.
I'll have to link to because it's not like it's called Russell Crowe's TikTok channel. It's like IGB, which is like one of the bands he's in right now. I'll link to it, guys. It's a blast. Make sure you check out Russell Crowe's TikTok channel. It's like this little known secret that a lot of people don't know about, but it's like, holy shit, he's just making TikTok videos for whatever reason. It's fun.
Oh, that's good.
Jonathan, what's your recommendation for the week?
All right. So if you guys aren't watching The Pit, definitely watch that. Watch The Landman. I actually let it build up. Season 2, I have, more episodes to watch now. Such a good show. But most importantly, this week is Survivor Season 50 starts. So
yes,
I believe it's tomorrow. Or it's Wednesday.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, it's probably already here. But yeah, check out Survivor Season 50 and follow along with the Outlast podcast.
We just did the pre-show for Outlast podcast, which is a pain in the ass because we edit in all the little videos for them. And man, just going back and seeing some of the contestants that are coming back for the season, some of them I kind of forgot about, and they're just such icons. Yeah. God, it's gonna be a good season. Do you have an early favorite?
Not really. Maybe after. I mean, because I've seen little clips and stuff like that, but I haven't gone through. I was planning on watching episodes, the one like they were releasing of the returning contestants, but I haven't. So yeah, I don't know. I'd like one of the returning players, one of the best veterans. Like
they're all returning players, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Like one of the legends.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of. I keep thinking Coach in my head over and over again, and he's not my favorite character. He's great, but I remember when we saw him at the mall, Mom was super excited. She's like, "Oh my God, is that?" It's like, "Hey, relax. Like, don't go harass the guy at the mall," kind of thing. Like, you just watch from a distance, like a bird. You're gonna startle him. But
we have three from the Sacramento area because we have Joe back as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And then we have Jenna. I think it's Jenna that's from Woodland. So like we have three in the Sacramento area. So maybe they'll all show up at Joe's watch parties that we go to that we're going to be going to again. Mm-hmm. And so that'd be a blast. That'd be really fun.
Yeah. Man, that'd be cool.
Yeah. For me, Rick Devens, I rewatched his season and it was just like, this guy's so insanely good at this game. I don't know how well that'll work on this island because everybody's good at this game, but damn, just even watching his little video again, you're like, son of a bitch. He was the best.
Everybody knows your tricks now too. Like they know what techniques you use to get it on the inside and stuff. So it's a whole different game. Everybody's experienced now.
Except for two people. And that's Rizzo and Savannah. Nobody knows their tricks because that season didn't air when this one was filming.
True.
So they can go in. And one of my pitches is pretend like you hate each other. They got you two because you guys were beefing the whole time. And then you guys could make alliances and then secretly be allied together like Kyle and Camilla, who are also in the season. But do that. And hopefully they will be smart enough to do that. Rizzo, the other thing too is like he's such a young person. Like all his jokes and stuff like that, like the 6'7" kind of thing. He's a very young person. Yeah. This is one of the older Survivor casts that we've ever seen, with everybody in their 30s and 50s or 40s. It might not land too well with all his like young shenanigans. We'll have to see.
And being that the two of them are unknown to everybody else, it's probably going to I would assume it would put a target on their back. Either people will think, oh, they're not a threat because I don't know them, but most likely they'll be like, oh wait, I know everybody else's tricks, but I don't know these two, so yeah, maybe we should get them out first. But we'll see.
It's going to be a good season either way. I just cannot wait for it. It's going to be a blast. All right, everybody, so make sure you watch that along with us. We'll see you guys on the next one. We'll see you this Friday for an interview with Lenore Zan. And thank you guys for hanging out with us. Bye.